I am Great Mother, Holy Spirit, Yin, Divine Mother, Cosmic Womb, Deep Space, the Moon, Dark Matter, the Void, the Black Hole, Hathor, Isis, Diana, Mami, Ishtar, Kali, Mammy, and Mother.
Great Mother speaks to us in raw, realistic, and righteousness. Great Mother speaks to those of us who are most alienated from her unconditional love due to our birth mother experience. Here, welcome to Great Mother
Hi,
Speaks
everybody.
to
I know
us
it's been a while,
in
but
raw,
I have
realistic,
really
and
missed
righteousness.
you. I hope everybody's doing
Great
well
Mother speaks
and that this eclipse season is just blessing you, blessing you, blessing you. If you don't feel that it is, these readings are for you. Now, of course, with eclipses, they are relevant for 6 to 18 months during the eclipse period. And, I tell you that if you really want to keep up with what Great Mother is doing, you need to go to mamadramatrauma.info. That's where I've been spending most of my time with the support group and the deck that's coming out. And remember, Great Mother created this deck for us to heal. It's a process. Everybody has their own process. I know I've been living in loving detachment from my mother for 13 years. And this eclipse brought up so much for me still. It takes a while. And so the Great Mother Speaks Oracle deck has been having classes. We've been having support groups online and in my community. And so it's been awesome. So I'll get videos up when I can. Great Mother inspired me to share these videos with you. But before I do, what came up for me is that even after 13 years of working with my divinity identity, of being a dearly loved child of the Great Mother Father God. Now say it with me, those of you who've been watching for a while. And those of you who haven't, this channel is Great Mother Speaks Oracle deck that is designed for people with mama drama trauma, a condition in which the mother projects unhealed aspects of herself onto her child, causing emotional and or physical trauma. In cases where she is unwilling, unable, and unavailable to heal her own trauma, because it is a cycle, in order for the child to be healed, she must or he must learn to live in loving detachment. Okay? Accepting the mother that we have, letting go of the mother that we want so we can accept the one we have. That's when we know that we're healed from MDT. But sometimes even when we're healed from things, we can have little, things that come up. You may have had a hip surgery and you're fine, you can walk, your hip's not broken anymore, but every once in a while when it rains, it might get sore. We're triggered as well. And eclipses have a tendency to do that because they're all about balance. They occur to balance the Earth's biosphere, the animal kingdom, our waters, our internal waters were made up of at least 70 to 80% water. It's a balancing mechanism that Great Mother Father God have for us to sustain life on this planet. Things get out of balance, right? And so it happens internally as well. Everything starts from spirit before it's manifested in physical form. So the moon and the sun do their thing. And so, long story short, with what happened to me, starting with the new moon, what came up for me, and this is what the solar eclipses, it always happens in the new moon. Solar eclipses reveal to you inner wisdom that we have been denying, we've been ignoring, we've been minimizing, that we haven't prioritized for whatever reason. There's no judgment, no condemnation, no tea, no shade, but it's something important that we have not looked at. Okay? And so that's what solar eclipses do. They bring up what needs to be brought up for us to acknowledge for our highest good. And then they're followed with the lunar eclipse that is all about who we truly are. So we have the solar eclipse, it's about who we think we are, but then the solar eclipse really shows us what we really need to know that's going on with who we are. And then the lunar eclipse is telling us what needs to be released in order for us to fulfill our true identity, in order for us to fulfill who our soul is. So what came up for me during the solar eclipse was that I needed to pay attention to how I was communicating to people. I needed to really pay attention to my perception of what people were saying to me and how I was interpreting conversations, because I was just really getting short and really getting irritated a lot with people and feeling like I knew what they meant and this and whatever, and really getting triggered with a whole bunch of MDT, getting deep into that. And so I knew it was out of balance, but then when the solar eclipse came, it confirmed it. You need to pay attention to that. So in the interim since then, what this lunar eclipse has shown me, and I'll just give you an illustration. Me and my man went to the movies this past weekend. We went to go see that movie Crawl. It is crazy. Live in Florida. Had to see it. It's a good movie though. I didn't think it was going to be good, but it is. And has a lot of spiritual connotations. I wasn't expecting that. We were driving in the car and we were talking about a guest visiting, as we often have in Florida, and going back and forth about what we're going to do and everything when they came. And we were driving up to the theater or whatever like that, and he was like, okay, we're in the present now. We're in the present. We need to be in the present, so let's go. And I was like, what? You the one brought up the conversation about planning for the future. Now you're going to tell me, it's, you need to be in the present, like that, because I'm always telling him that. And so I thought he was bringing it back on me. And I snapped. And he looked at me like, what are you doing? What are you talking about? Come on, let's go to the movie. We're in the present. And it came to me like that from Great Mother. That's what I meant, Tammy. That's what I meant. Don't be doing that. Don't be doing that no more to people, because it's hurting you more. You see, he wasn't even paying no attention to what you're tripping on. But you were feeling so angry and so upset because you were interpreting it as judgment and condemnation. Like he's judging you for not being in the present, because that's what you was doing when you were telling him to be in the present. Girl, stop. You don't know what people are chilling. They're not coming at you like that. You coming at them like that. Stop. So, Great Mother is so merciful. It's so graceful. And I'm so grateful because that has taken such a load off my shoulders. Just not carrying that weight around of knowing what everybody's thinking. Anyway, Great Mother wanted me to share that with you because living and loving detachment is a process, and loving detachment is accepting what is. And what is what is. It is what we think it is in the moment, in the time. And we have to work with where we are. And so over 13 years, I've been in many places with accepting what is, accepting that my mother was an alcoholic, accepting that she didn't want to have a relationship with me, accepting that she couldn't accept me for who I am, accepting that, she judged me and condemned me for doing the voodoo, talking to Great Mother, accepting, it's a long journey of accepting what is. And this eclipse came up, and they normally come up during eclipses, by the way. Accept the fact that you are allowing yourself to be triggered by that judgment and condemnation from MDT, that blame. You're triggering yourself, girlfriend. Stop it. You've been conditioned to do that, but you don't have to keep on doing that. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. It's keeping you from enjoying your life. And I needed to bring that to your attention so that you can get in alignment with who you are. You are a dearly loved child of the Great Mother, Father, God, who's never judged, condemned, or left alone. Okay? So this reading for each of you, we're going to look at what the solar eclipse brought up for you, your moon sign. And check your moon sign calculator below. I know some of you watch based on your Western moon sign, but it is a 24-degree different with the Vedic in 24 degrees precession. So, for example, I am Gemini moon in the Western and Taurus moon in the Vedic because of the 24-degree difference. And it does make a difference if you really do intuit very strongly. The Jyotish is going to, in many cases, be more appropriate for you, but not necessarily, because there are obviously other aspects to your chart. So, with no further ado, I want you to realize that this reading will show you what came up for you and who you truly are in relationship to Great Mother's support of you at this time moving forward. The entire cosmos is supporting us uniquely and individually in ways that we cannot imagine. But through Great Mother Speaks, we'll have an idea. Come over to Mama Drama Trauma and join us. There's some very affordable classes. The new deck is going to be coming out, so you can pre-order, get into the tutorial so that you can do your own readings to gauge your own process. Thanks for watching. Scorpio moon sign people, what came up for you during the solar eclipse was a need to surrender to the healing process, a need to surrender your will to the higher will of what Great Mother has already told you up to this point. And what do we mean by up to this point? We mean since the August 2017 solar eclipse, the world stopped to watch in the United States until now, until July 2nd. At that time, what she crystallized in you during that solar eclipse was all of that energy from that eclipse culminating into a realization you need to surrender. You have done all the emotional work that you can do on your own, and you have solicited or been able to attract support from others. But even still, the pull of Mama Drama Trauma has been so powerful that the tendencies toward addictive behaviors, which are all about pain avoidance, you're still having such a strong sense of pain in your life as a result of all of this, that you're trying to fill that void of maternal abandonment and abuse, and Great Mother saying, stop it. Okay, by now you know that it's time to stop it. And since then, in the last 2 weeks, what now has emerged as your alignment with soul that is needing to be made is that sense of self-curiosity. There needs to be a sense of, okay, so why am I feeling this way? What is making these emotions come up in my life at this time? Becoming even more self-analytical than you have been with regard to not just your mother, but your family dynamic. This is second house energy for you with Sagittarius in the South Node. So there's a lot of emotional release of those kind of tribal relationships. And some of you may actually be losing weight. Your diet may be changing quite a bit. Maybe discipline around your diet may be wavering a bit. Some of you, again, may be losing weight because you are losing your appetite for certain things. There is a sense of surrender that has emerged. And now, the difference between who you've been telling yourself you are, which has to do with you've been telling yourself that you can withstand the storm, and now realizing in the last 2 weeks that you do need to ask for help. The full moon is saying that this help is coming to you in the form of self-inquiry, in the form of you making sure that whatever painful thought, whatever judgment, whatever condemnation that you're feeling as a result of this release, letting go, asking for help from Great Mother, your angels, your guides, and your ancestors, and working with your intuition in a disciplined manner so that your not just food diet, physical food, but your spiritual food will be able to sustain you. So in other words, there may be a lot of spiritual interest at this time, or things that you have invested in, workshops and groups and things like that, and they've just kind of become, your new pattern and the way that you've been doing things, and this is the way that you have been receiving help, which is all fine and dandy. But if under that there's still this undertow of deep, shadowy emotions that are indicative of going through the dark night of the soul. This is what you're going through. You're going through this dark night and you're being reborn. It's a process by which you do see the light at the end of the tunnel, but it is a distance still. And there's a part of you that is not wanting to recognize that. And this lunar eclipse is saying, this is where you really are. You may have thought that you were at this point, but you were actually at this point in your journey. You're actually at a point where we need to double up on our internal resources, which Scorpio moon, you have a lot of them. You have a lot of internal resources that you can scale the depths into, the nether worlds to get. And you want to do that. You want to, or either you want to, or you need to really, really just acknowledge this pain. And most of you want to do that. Most of you want to acknowledge the abandonment and the abuse. You want to do that, but you can't if you do not look it in the face and say, why are you here, unworthiness? I know I've been going to yoga. I know I've been practicing the sutras. I know I have been doing my work with Candomblé, or I know I have been working my Christ principles, or I know I have been really, really doing the rosary, or whatever it is for your connection with Great Mother you've been doing. Again, that undertow is requiring you to dam it up and say, okay, stop. We're not just going to flow through me. I'm going to surrender to this process, but in a way that is conscious. I'm not going to just lay down out of avoidance. In other words, I'm not going to lay down and hide my addictions. I'm not going to just lay down and hide my shame, my blame, and my guilt, because you don't realize that you already have taken your power back from the situation. There's some reason that you don't already realize, and some of you have, but most of you are still in that very emotionally charged stage of really confronting your MDT, or you're about to be. It's on with the family. It's on with the close relatives. It's a situation where it's really affecting, your daily life. And so the practice that this full moon is encouraging you to engage in is the work of Byron Katie. The work is what it's called. Google Byron Katie, and the Judge My Neighbor worksheet is what you need to really be focused on now, between now and the eclipse, December 26th. In order for you to really take advantage of following your bliss. Yeah, it's emotionally charged, and yeah, there's a lot of issues that are coming up and a lot of sadness, but you're not going through that for nothing. You're going through that to get to the other side of the dark night. Remember, the demons of fear lead us into it, the shame, blame, and guilt, and our angels, guides, and ancestors that confirm our divinity identity bring us out into the light. And your light is your bliss, that life that you feel and and that you imagine. And many of you have already started to live, but this is just another deeper level of living that life that you are enjoying. Some of you need to realize that the challenges that you are having with this emotional intensity has to do with the fact that, again, that you haven't acknowledged the pain and are running away from it. So when you stop running away from it, you're going to feel the support that I'm talking about from Great Mother. Running away from it and feeling the pain is also a support, because pain is not a judgment or condemnation. It's a signal. Remember, Great Mother works through signs and symbols, signals, signs. Pain is just a signal to our chakras that we're out of alignment. And so if the heart chakra, if the second chakra, the back part of the second chakra, the lower back, and all this support and processing, we're not processing our emotions and things that are causing us pain. It's like a Morse code in terms of understanding why we're feeling what we're feeling and how to fix it, working with Great Mother energy. Your present state of ego soul alignment with regard to this is a true recognition that you have done all that you can do. Those of you who have not acknowledged the pain, the shame, and the need to work on these pervading addictions due to these fears that are being brought up because of this emotional intensity, you haven't realized that you have done all that you can do. Everything within your Scorpion power you have done to deal with this dark night of the soul with your MDT. But again, you need to realize that now it's starting to go into like a fear situation, and just acknowledge that you're afraid and ask for help. Or if you don't directly ask for help specifically, sometimes that scares people because they don't know what to ask for and they feel like they ask for the wrong thing, something bad is going to happen. We really have issues with our divinity. And so as we're working through this, if you don't really want to ask for it at this time specifically, just with all of this energy, this powerful spiritual energy of release in your second house, ask for the strength to be able to withstand the emotional pain. Just be real. Help me release this as painlessly and effortlessly as possible. Help me, show me how I can assist the pain-free, effortless release of this. So that at least as you get your signs and symbols about how to assist the pain-free, effortless release of it, that if you're not able to comply, you at least know again the source of the pain. And that's where we start to begin to really feel our divinity. We can feel how our conscious behavior impacts our lives. How your soul is really working with these energies right now is in a very scorpionic way. You are going through a rebirth of associations, of what looks right to you in terms of a family, in terms of a significant other, in terms of your investments of time and resources, your beliefs, that are the foundations of what you own, what you have. In the past, you may have worked at a cleaner's, and that's over years how you have been able to sustain your lifestyle. And now you're realizing that cleaner's is owned by friends of the family, and I'm kind of falling out with the family, and it's making them feel kind of weird. And so I've, for the last couple of years, been doing all this spiritual work, and yeah, I have had my yoga studio part-time, and more people are starting to sign up, but I haven't been able to pay much attention to that because I'm running this. It's that kind of time for you, and you are feeling a sense of victimhood as a result, because you're like, I've been doing all this spiritual work, and now you ask me to do what? And it's like, yes. Yeah, you're being asked to do that. Because at the end of the day, it's all good. At the end of the day, it's all good. Everything's going to turn out great. You're already fine. You just don't realize that, because the focus of your spiritual analysis up to this point, that example of the outer world, the cleaners to the yoga, is the same in the inner world. There's been a certain focus that you've had up to this time in terms of how you do your healing work that also needs to be shifted into a new sense of what you now know since August 17, 2017, August 21st, 2017. What is it that you now know? What's true now? What's true today may have been true then that's what you need to do, and you're attached to that on the outer world. But on the inner world, the same thing was happening. And you need to make that transition in order to benefit from these very powerful energies that will be definitely in effect now into the next 18 months or so. So all the best, Scorpio moon sign people.